If you're planning on playing or especially creating content for Icarus, you need to watch this. We need to talk about this whole Icarus Beta Weekend rollout to release system, how it might be affecting the game's momentum, and potentially be killing the game before launch. We're going to look at a few different numbers so I can show you what I mean. Let's get to it.
Player 2 has entered the game.
Now, if Icarus news, guides, and leaks butters your biscuit, consider subscribing so that you do not miss a thing. Okay, so first off, I'm a big fan of the game so far. I wish nothing but success for it, as I'm likely going to be covering the game on YouTube and Twitch, and on top of that, I believe the Beta Weekend system is actually great for the consumer. You get to potentially experience over 100 hours of gameplay if you choose to, before you even commit to buying the game fully. As up until game goes into early access, you can receive a full refund at any time, no questions asked. It's also good for the developer, as they get plenty of time to stress test, optimize, and add fixes that are much needed prior to launch. But that's not what we're talking about here. All that I'm focusing on is the unintentional effects this can have on marketing. Now, I understand Icarus is in its beta and that numbers can be completely unrepresentative of what the game's long-term success will look like, but this isn't a typical beta. The Icarus dev team is trying something a bit different in that they're rolling out these beta weekends leading up to launch, in contrast to a typical beta where the developer has maybe like a beta or two prior to early access, just a small taste and test. So once again, this rollout system being used inadvertently becomes a marketing tool that will either help or hurt the game's momentum leading up to launch. And as of the latest beta weekend, the numbers are in, and they have me a little bit conflicted. So here we have Icarus beta Steam charts, as well as Twitch viewership pulled up from solelygnome.com, which if you're a Twitch creator and aren't using this, you need to use solelygnome.com. Both of these numbers are equally important and need to be taken into account, but they do mean different things. But what I want you to try to do with me is interpret why these numbers are this way and what they may or may not mean for Icarus. As a content creator, I do this kind of research for any of the games that I cover to determine whether or not they're going to be good for me to stream or make videos on. The first weekend had the highest numbers, reaching all the way up to 68,000 viewers on Twitch and over 7,000 players on Steam. Now, this is expected of the first beta weekend, as that weekend there were several big content creators playing the game, and it was the first opportunity to really experience Icarus for an extended amount of time. Now, the numbers for Twitch drop drastically over the next few beta weekends, as you can see, but the Steam charts stay pretty constant, almost every weekend peaking around that 7,000 player number. Those 7,000 I foresee will become players upon early access release. From the numbers being so consistent player-wise, I think the game will have a pretty loyal player base going into launch, and it will maintain at least that throughout its development. And the Twitch numbers dropping significantly could have to do with the Battlefield beta weekend, big streamers only covering it for a weekend or two and then moving on to the next game, or loads of other reasons. But I think there's more to it than that. The beta weekends could be a contributing factor in this game having a mediocre early access launch. I don't think it'll be a bad launch, and that's why I wanted to talk about the momentum. I mean, all numbers aside, for those of you that have played in the beta weekends or have watched gameplay of it, we've unlocked all the biomes. We've seen all the major bosses, all the way up to the sandworm in the desert biome. We still have a couple beta weekends left, and there's no way they have enough content that is yet to be unveiled that's going to top anything we've seen in these previous beta weekends. So my theory is that the next two beta weekends will keep a similar player count around that 7,000 player range, but the Twitch numbers are going to be the lowest numbers we've seen yet. This isn't detrimental to Icarus, but psychologically, it doesn't have a buildup of hype to opening day in December, and because of that, you won't see a massive boom in virality, like we did with something like Valheim earlier in the year, another open world survival game that was released. Now, all this information could mean nothing when it comes to long-term success for Icarus, but I see a whole lot more leading to a decrease in overall Icarus hype and attention, And that is something that you need to consider if you're going to be backing this game up, and especially if you plan to create content on it. I hope that this is just a misread of the entire situation and that Icarus just pops off at launch. My community has had loads of fun playing the game in these weekends, so I wish to continue making content on the game. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I would like to have an open discussion about this. I'll respond to any comment that is reasonable. If I'm wrong, tell me how I'm wrong. Then check out more Icarus videos coming up right now.